Alright everybody, back on my Colonial 1. This is Saturday, May 2nd, a little after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I have my Colonial 1 down in my spray booth. What I'm going to do today is primer it up and light block it. The bottom hull here, I got it masked off where the parts join, so it'll be less cleanup when I hit it with some primer. And I'm going to put some flat black on the inside. I'm going with acrylic, same with the top of the Colonial 1. I got it masked off where they join together. The rest of the parts I'm going to hit with some adhesion promoter. So I got everything laid out, getting ready to get started. The primer I'm going to use is zinc chrome primer from Polyscale. It's railroad paint. They're no longer in business. I use this zinc chrome primer on my Nautilus. It's a real good primer. I have 2 more bottles here in stock. I'm going to go ahead and use these, or use this for the base primer for the Colonial 1, and then I'm just going to use flat black XF-1 acrylic for light blocking. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Figured I'd share this with everybody, and everybody have a good day. Alright everybody, back on my Colonial 1. I don't know if I brought it up in the first video, but this is the start of part 2. I have all the pieces primered. Everything's looking good. The outside of the Colonial 1, I have not hit it with adhesion promoter and primered it yet. I just did the inside, and everything turned out really nice. That zinc chrome primer is some really good primer. Like I showed in the first video, this stuff is really good primer. And you can use it with enamel or acrylic. Here's the top of the Colonial 1. Everything turned out nice. Primer turned out really good. Here's the conning tower. That turned out really nice inside. Same with the other side. And all the parts that I hit with the primer turned out really good. Tonight I'm going to try to hit the inside here with some flat black. Same with the conning tower. If I can do that tonight, I'll call it a wrap with this, and then maybe tomorrow I can bring it back down and hit the bottom and the top here with some adhesion promoter and hit it with some primer. So I figured I'd share this with everybody, what I'm doing with the Colonial 1. And everybody have a good day. Alright everybody, back on my Colonial 1. I finally hit it with some adhesion promoter. Stuff right here. Real good primer. And then I hit it with the zinc chrome primer, and it turned out really decent. Here's the bottom. Then I have the inside light blocked. Same with the top. Turned out really decent. also have that light blocked on the inside. I'm going to call this a wrap with the first part of this, primering it up. And next step, I'll be taking it upstairs and trying some lighting in it, see how that turns out. So I'm going to call this a wrap with painting and primering up the Colonial 1. And everybody have a good day. Alright everybody, back on my Colonial 1. Yesterday I took it down and I primered up the main ship. Turned out pretty decent. All primered up, ready to go. With that zinc chrome primer I used, turned out really decent. I laid out the other parts to the model. This is the engine in the back. Did primer that, front and back. These are part of the engines too, the same thing. That's the inside. I did not primer or light block that yet. I want to put the pieces together first. More parts back here. Over here, the primer turned out really decent. A few parts on the back here that I hit with the primer. More parts over here. Part of the engine. A lot of parts for the engine. What I'm going to do tonight with the Colonial 1 is that, move this out of the way. I have plenty of LEDs wired up, from the flat taped LED, as you can see right here, to 1.5 millimeter, 2 millimeter. I take it this is probably about a 1.5 millimeter. So I have quite a few ready wired up, and I'm going to test this out tonight, see if there's any light leaks. I'll film that too. Maybe next weekend I'll take this down and get a first coat of paint on it, see what that looks like. But I figured I'd share this with everybody tonight, what I'm doing with the Colonial 1, and everybody have a good day. Alright everybody, back on my Colonial 1. This is Thursday night, May 7th, and what I'm doing tonight with the Colonial 1 is working a lighting system on the inside of the Colonial 1. I tried all the LEDs that I've wired up prior to this video and didn't like the way it was lighting up the Colonial 1. So I have plenty of taped LEDs, and this is double density. I'm going to use 2 strips on the inside of this Colonial 1, and I like the results. I'm going to go ahead and fire up some power to it now, and I got it set at 12 volts. It's going to look a little bright with the camcorder here. I'll have to adjust the LEDs on the inside, but here on an angle everything looks really good. The conning tower and the lower part of the ship looks really nice. I like the lighting effect. Same for the other side. So I'm going to go with the double density LEDs, the 2 strips that I have in there, and then on the engine in the rear I'm going to have a couple flickering LEDs in the back for that. I can lower the voltage to 9 volts. It'll soften it up a little bit, and that's at 9 volts right there. It still looks pretty good, both sides of the ship. And one thing I'm going to do tonight is starting to assemble this model, and maybe hopefully by this weekend coming up I can take it back down to the spray booth and start painting on this model. but I figured I'd share this with everybody on what I'm doing with the Colonial 1. And everybody have a good day. Alright everybody, back on my Colonial 1. This is Saturday, May 9th. What I'm working on today is assembling the parts to the model. I'm working on the engines right now. Yesterday I glued in the windows back here and in the front, and I used Formula 560 canopy glue. With the Paragraphics window templates, says like use right here a super glue or micro crystal clear. So micro crystal clear and the Formula 560 is about the same type of stuff. This is real good stuff here. Got all my tools out. Got my X-Acto knife, my files, a little cutting tool right here for taking parts off the tree. I'm gonna go ahead and get started here, work on some more of the Colonial 1. I already cut a piece off. That piece goes right up here like so. I'm going to glue that with some canopy glue. Let's see, this goes right in here like so. Once it's all together, it's going to give you that look right there. Looks pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here working on Colonial 1 and with the Photo-etch that I have for the kit. And everybody have a good day. Alright everybody, back on my Colonial 1. Been working on the engines tonight, and I have everything mounted with the Photo-etch. These are the open grills that go on, and I mounted them, and I used canopy glue right here. Also on the inside of the engines, the turbine, mounted those. Get a good look at it. Same for the other one. Turned out really nice. This is the lower engine, and it's very small, and I'm going to use 805 SMDs, either white or warm white, to light these up. They're very small, so I'm going to have to experiment here and see what I'm going to use. For as small as these are, the white might be just too bright, so I may go with a warm white, and the main engines will flicker. I think that effect might look better because it'll show that maybe the lower engine and the upper engine above the main engines will be like at low power. So I may just go with a 805 warm white SMD. This little part right here goes on the front of this small engine, and what I may do is just drill out in the center of this for the lighting to come through. I'll have to decide what I'm going to do about that part. I thought about just leaving this open, but I'm going to go ahead and finish up working on this tonight, and I figured I'd share this with everybody, and everybody have a good day. Alright everybody, back on my Colonial 1. Tonight I've been working on the engines, and I drilled out a hole in the center and on the bottom for the wire to run through. This is the small engine that goes on the bottom of the Colonial 1, And where my finger is right now, as you can see on the video, it's going to need to be light blocked. So on the inside here, I'm going to maybe use some black tulip. The outside, I'm going to maybe hit it again with some zinc chrome primer, and then hit it with some flat black, and then test it again, see if there's any more light leaks. And then the main color of the engines, I think, are gray. So with all that on there, it should do a good job blocking the light from leaking out. I like the effect. I may also try a 805 warm white SMD. This is just the white one. It looks really good. The engines, of course, will have the 5mm flickering effect. I figured I'd share this with everybody tonight, what I've been doing with the Colonial 1, working on the engines. And everybody have a good day. Alright everybody, back on the Colonial 1. I have a warm white 805 SMD in the engine. The other video I have the white 805. This isn't as bright, but it still shows where it's going to have a light leak and where I have to take care of it. It is a much softer light for the lower engine on the Colonial 1. So it's going to be a hard choice here between the standard white or the warm white that I'll use on the engine effect. Even though if I use the warm white on the smaller engines, it'll look like it's just not at full power, and that might look as good with the flickering that I'm going to have for the main engine. So I'm going to have to think what I'm going to do here with the Colonial 1 and these small engines. I figured I'd share this with everybody, what I'm doing with the Colonial 1. And everybody have a good day. Alright everybody, back on my Colonial 1. This is May 10th, Sunday evening or after 6 o'clock. I've been working on the engines today. I have a 805 white SMD in here. I hollowed each end out on this engine. This one I still need to work on. I have to hollow out the inside. And to use the Photo-etch, these parts right here, I'm going to go ahead and give it some power. Turn the light off above. There's not that much light leaks. I have that right now at 9 volts. Looks pretty cool. Same for the other side. I'm going to bump it up to 12 volts. That's at 12. I'm probably going to go with the 805 white SMDs for the engines, other than the two that will flicker. But this looks pretty good. I like it. It's turning out really nice. Once I get the other engine done tonight, I'll probably call that a wrap for part 2. I'm going to go ahead and start assembling this model, getting it ready for the spray booth. I figured I'd share this with everybody on what I'm doing with the Colonial 1. And everybody have a good day.